All right, folks, welcome once again. We are here at the DoPL Arcade. I am actually recording from the Doplex, newly named, newly constructed studio that I am now recording out of. I'm super excited to be here for our holiday edition with our friend TDK. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up, guys? Wow, it is like really Christmassy in here. I love it. It's I'm feeling the vibes.
Right?
But yeah, man. Happy holidays. Part of our brand, I think, is that we are in our 40s and we're parents. Being in your 40s and parents at Christmas time is really hard. It turns out I think I'm actually turning into Clark Griswold. It's been fun, but holy shit, where's the Tylenol?
I'm ready to sleep in. I'm ready for my kids to sleep in. And I think we're all ready just to kind of slow things down, throw on some video games. Do some Just Dance. It's been around for a long time, and it's not one I've ever touched until recently. I think my girls would really like this game. Downloaded it.
I get Just Dance and like DDR confused. Are those basically the same thing?
I guess the way I would describe it is Just Dance is hands and DDR is feet.
What are you doing with your hands?
There's a person dancing on screen, and you can't help but mimic
Sure.
every movement because you want it to be accurate. And you can't help but move your entire body. You can jump in by using an iPhone, and it reads the accelerometer on your iPhone. And so
that's cool.
We've had like 6 people dancing in our little living room at once. It's like a hoot. Yeah. Everyone ends up having a good time because it's so silly.
That's such a Nintendo good time.
You playing anything?
Man, not a lot. Because, like I said, the Clark Griswold of it all. I've dipped into a little bit of Rocket League just because I can get 20 minutes in. My 5-year-old's at the perfect age where he doesn't know the difference between like watching football on a Sunday or watching Rocket League.
Just put the game on.
Put the game on, Dad. It really does boost your enjoyment of Rocket League if you get high fives from a 5-year-old every time you score. It's next level. Like if a little cute gremlin is sitting next to you and they're just like, yeah, good job, Dad. That's the best, you know? We'll get a couple of those when we can. That's about it. But I'm like you, I'm about to chill. It's all happening. And I'm like, I'm going to come into some chill time. I'm going to catch up on some stuff. And I've never really done this before. I'm very much, if you got to know me a little bit already through this pod, kind of things have to be in order, only child of it. Also, like when it comes to gaming, I just play one game at a time. I don't have 3 or 4 games going. I got to like play it to completion, digest my experience, and then I go to the next game. But what I'm going to do over this holiday is I think I'm really going to try and play an hour of a handful of games and see what really like connects with me.
Was it like in your backlog, or are you going to go out and grab something?
Probably backlog. I still haven't played Ghost of Tsushima. I got to play that, right? There's a ton of stuff. I really want to dip into some older games. So I have some stuff that I want to, it's on the emulator that I want to kind of like see if my son can kind of play it, see if I can't get some kind of co-op gaming going between the two of us. So
It Takes Two, I feel like would be a great 2-player game with your kid. Definitely one I can't wait to get into with my oldest. I think she's about ready.
I have so many questions for you about like what your Christmas was like growing up. I think we share definitely the excitement of like which of these boxes is shaped like a Sega Saturn game because those were so specific. Tell me, man, like what was the Ray Christmas like?
I mean, for me and my brother, growing up, every Christmas involved video games. There was a video game on our wish list. There was a console we needed to have. There was probably not a Christmas in like a decade where we didn't get a video game. It was all that. It was checking to see how big the boxes were.
Totally.
Or how small, because the small boxes were winners back in that era too, like, or even to this day, you know, if it's shaped like a video game. They got clever though. They eventually wised up and they started putting our games in like
boxes
shoe boxes or kind of sneakily.
Your parents would do like the rock in there.
There was like some trolley stuff for sure.
Trolley, I don't know. Yeah, you know, it's creative and fun, but that
no,
counts.
They're trolls. They definitely threw us off here and there as kids. Also, throwing things in stockings. We're like, what's going on? We want a video game and it's not anywhere to be seen, but they were like, oh no, it's in the stocking. And we never checked the stocking. And one year I was actually devastated. It was still when I believed in Santa Claus. The younger listeners, he still exists. Don't listen to me. We were super pumped to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for SNES. That was the game we wanted. Christmas Day, we get up. I think I got up like at 5 a.m. It was one of those where I was like, Santa's already come through. I can go check.
Yeah, he's been here.
Yeah.
His work is done.
Stand near sunrise, you know? And so I go check under the tree and there's nothing. And I start crying. Like, I hate Santa. I can't believe he did this to me. Then my brother, he's like, wait, the stocking. Last ditch. Yes, that's right. Let's check the stocking, thankfully. It's not even wrapped.
Wait,
Santa
not wrapped?
No, Santa was just like, the stocking is its wrapping.
I have a ton of questions. Okay, Christmas morning, don't you open stockings first before you open all your presents on Christmas morning? You wake up early, you go get the stocking, and you got to wait for your parents. You don't wait for your parents, you're in trouble.
So in our family, and I think in a lot of Hispanic households, if I'm not mistaken, presents are opened at midnight, not on Christmas morning. The only presents you open
Midnight.
on Christmas morning are the ones we got from Santa. It's a very Santa specific morning. That's when the bike rolls in.
I'm clearly not super educated on this specific tradition, but I could see like waiting till midnight, the anticipation, but also, again, 40-year-old parents. Aren't your kids exhausted? How'd you get up at 5 a.m. if you were up till...
It's Christmas, man.
Yeah, but yeah, like 1 hour of sleep.
Yeah, man. I'm hyped.
Oh my God.
I'm staying up till midnight. There's presents at the end of that rainbow. I can hardly contain myself. I'm just
And
ready.
you still do this with your kids?
No. Our kids open their presents at 9 p.m.
Okay.
Which is still on the later side, but we don't do the midnight things. That's just
Sure.
too late. So
Probably
we do
in
9
bed by
p.m. They
midnight.
go to bed, and then they open some stuff in the morning from Santa or, the big ticket item. We assembled the trampoline that they still use today last year while they were
exciting.
asleep.
This is the picture I'm imagining. Tell me if I'm close. Family functions all Christmas Eve day. There's tons of food. There's people coming through. You know it's coming. Like, you got to make it till midnight. Midnight comes. You're probably like dead tired at 10 p.m., but then it starts to ramp back up. And then it's like we're opening presents. We're all high-fiving. We're having a blast. So is your Christmas day really just like the world is our oyster? Look at all this new stuff we have. Like, what are we going to play with?
That's exactly it. Yeah. The game is the Santa present. So we go to sleep still with that anticipation of, man,
With that one kind of
Ocarina of Time
Yeah.
is waiting for, like, it's gotta be there. It's gotta be
Was
there.
it Ocarina of Time?
One year it was Ocarina of Time for Christmas,
Oh.
and my holiday break was set. I think I stayed up till 4 a.m. that Christmas. My household didn't play video games on weekdays.
But
Milked.
Christmas break is
Christmas
we're
break,
good.
all bets are off. And
Right,
so I
right.
used that time as effectively as I could and got as far as I could in that game as possible. One of the best winter breaks ever, for sure.
So my house was a Christmas morning house. We still would do the Christmas Eve with family, but we'd have to drive to the city. It was like a 3-hour drive just to get to like grandma's house. And all the cousins would come through. It was fun. You get to play with your cousins, but you're still looking forward to Christmas for me. We would have a 2.5-hour, 3 drive back. I fall asleep in the car, but Christmas morning, I would wake up in those woods and it'd be snow covered. As an only child, I'm up like you, 5 o'clock. My parents don't want to be up at 5 o'clock. They're not morning people. So I have a couple hours to kill before I'm allowed to open anything. But then I do look back and the tree lights are on. It's like beautiful white outside. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to play some video games, right? Or watch cartoons, getting whatever snack I got. And then just kind of like being Christmas Day, snuggling in, playing the games. Not even new games. But there was one specific time I was at the grandma's house and I got the Sega Saturn. Like, so excited, right? But you can't hook it up at grandma's house. And I got a 3-hour drive home. So in my desperation, I read the manual. Obviously, you start with the outside of the box and all the characters in the games they say are probably coming, right? You really end up just getting to the place where you're like, you know what? I'm going to pull this controller out of the box and I'm going to pretend I'm driving all the way home. Get my brain wrapped around these buttons and try to figure out the sequences. And that was a huge one. The Saturn was really, really big. And then the next day in the stocking, which for me was an early, like you don't get your biggest gift in the stocking. We had a long Christmas. Like we do that thing where you open stockings first and then you take a little bit break and you have breakfast and everyone kind of gets ready for the day and you come back, start opening presents, and then you maybe take another break and go play in the snow. Like it was a real like full day's affair. But in the stocking the next day, I got Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
For Saturn.
Blew my mind. For Saturn. Ray and I were on the phone the other day.
Yeah.
My mind was blown because I was like, I'm pretty sure I played Tomb Raider on Saturn, Tomb Raider 1. And I was like, that's crazy. Did Tomb Raider 1 come out on Saturn before PlayStation? Because Ray made the great observation that Lara Croft might as well be the mascot for PlayStation.
When I think of Lara Croft, and a lot of our listeners probably, they think of Sony
Everybody.
PlayStation. She was almost a Sony
100%.
PlayStation mascot. The fact that that game was on Sega Saturn is kind of a shock to me.
Officially came out first on Sega Saturn. How did Sega drop the ball on that? If it was a first party exclusive, like if it would have been Lara Croft on Dreamcast only, maybe we're talking about something different right now.
They had so much going for them, and then it just didn't work out for poor old Sega. I always coveted the Sega Saturn just because it felt, at least in my circles, very hard to come across. It felt like I never really saw one inside of a retail store. It was really pricey from what I recall.
Let's have a little Sega Saturn sidebar. So let's get our little Sega Saturn sidebar cocktails. I think, first of all, it was probably most popular in Japan.
I was going to
Wasn't a
say, when I
success
think of
here.
Sega Saturn, I think Japanese console.
100%. This won't surprise you, but I didn't have that same feeling. I thought everybody had a Sega Saturn. It wasn't until more recently that I was like, oh, nobody had a Sega Saturn. But for me, like, why wouldn't you want one? Because genuinely, incredible, sneaky game library. It might have been the age I was, but I think of it as the era of like emulators and sports games. I got really into like racing games, baseball games, basketball games, like Virtua Fighter, Virtua Cop. It was obviously Tomb Raider was probably the highlight, but Sega Rally, Daytona USA. There was like no less than 10 MLB games. There was a ton of like as real as we had ever had baseball simulating games, right? House of the Dead was on there. I do think we all talk so romantically about the Dreamcast, and I'm a huge Dreamcast romancer. I don't know. Dreamcast romancer? Should we walk that back? That's going to be like my
side podcast. TDK is Dreamcast romancer.
Oh my God. Anyways, I love the Dreamcast. We all love the Dreamcast. I do think that the Saturn is due for a little bit of a renaissance where people would be like, wow, this was really groundbreaking.
The SNES Classic, the PS Classic came out. Sega did the same thing. If a Saturn came out, I would get in there.
That would be something cool.
From what I remember, Saturn was more powerful, at least in some regard, to Sony PlayStation, because that friend that we knew that had a Sega Saturn had X-Men versus Street Fighter and Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter on his Sega Saturn. And on PlayStation, you couldn't swap your characters out. That was the mechanic of those games in the arcade. The PlayStation version didn't let you tag in and out. It didn't have the processing power to have that happen. Me and my brother would go over this house and play the closest to arcade version of those games on the Sega Saturn, and we couldn't do that anywhere else.
And you were like, whose cousin is this guy? How does this guy have this Sega Saturn over here?
This guy is an absolute cousin of a dude, for sure, dude.
I think I did have Marvel versus Street Fighter, or maybe I just had the Marvel. They had a Marvel standalone fighter.
Marvel Superheroes.
Correct. Tell me about the graphics between PlayStation and Saturn on that specific game where you couldn't switch.
In terms of graphics, I don't know if there was a difference. My memory could be deceiving me, but I just felt like the Sega Saturn version was better overall. Also, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, one of the greatest Metroidvanias ever. When you think about that game, you think about top 5 PlayStation games. Sega Saturn had Symphony of the Night, and it had additional parts of the map that didn't exist on the PlayStation. It was arguably the better version of one of the best games ever made is on Sega Saturn.
It's interesting, man. I think Sega has always been on this counter step to the rest of the industry, right? They're one beat off. So not that their stuff isn't as good, but you have Genesis and Super Nintendo, and then you get Saturn, this proto PlayStation, right? You get the 3D fighting, you get all this stuff. I think mostly you get these really great simulators and you get these stand-up cabinet ports. Blows, obviously Super Nintendo and Genesis and all that out of the water. But then comes PlayStation. It just hit different. PlayStation hit different. Then you get Dreamcast, and Dreamcast blows PlayStation 1 completely out of the water. That's not even close. For a while, you're just like, wow, look at the possibilities. But then PlayStation 2. Okay, I guess it's over. I don't know if Dreamcast was supposed to compete with PlayStation 2 or if it was supposed to compete with PlayStation. I'm not sure if they were ahead or they were behind the cadence, right? I think for me, that's why it never really took off. It was always on its own kind of schedule that didn't line up with the natural leaps that everyone else was taking.
It seems intentional. They did it more than once, right? So maybe they just wanted to be ahead for a moment. And they were like, there was nothing better than Dreamcast for a solid 6. I don't know what that window was, but there was like a window where Dreamcast was the state of the art. I was salivating over the Dreamcast. Definitely got it. Not day one. It took a little bit, and that wasn't a Christmas one. But one Christmas console, though, that I was so excited to get was the Nintendo GameCube. So GameCube is like Nintendo's Sega Saturn Dreamcast moment, I would argue.
I think GameCube definitely has Dreamcast vibes. The way they marketed it, the way it was designed, like the actual cube.
I wanted a GameCube so bad around Christmas time. And my mom told me that she would get me one if we saw one at the mall that year. The whole thing of it all was that she had already got me one, and she was trying to be cheeky about it because she struggled to find me one. He's not going to see a GameCube anywhere. Trust me, I've been to a billion toy stores and I've barely got one. Yeah.
What a great mom. Can we just shout out to Ray's mom? She did the jingle all the way thing, right? She was like Schwarzenegger fighting with people, stampedes. Remember back in the day, you had to physically go there. You had to like beat an old lady off with a stick to get that GameCube, and your mom put the work in.
I'll tell you a little bit more about that because you just rekindled another holiday memory with
Did
that.
she
with
really
that
beat an old
on
lady
its
with a
own.
stick?
We go to KB store. There is a GameCube. The last GameCube. I was like, Mom, you said you would get me a GameCube. Get me the GameCube. She was just like, no. So just right then and there, I knew that I was getting a GameCube for Christmas. She had already got it for me. Man, Smash Brothers Melee Holiday Break was one of the most monumental video gaming
Totally.
experiences of my whole life, man. The internet wasn't in that level where you were getting video game spoilers yet, and so every new character that unlocked was mind-blowing.
Right.
I had no idea who Roy and Marth were. These characters that are now staples in the Smash Brothers world, I learned about right then and there. Mewtwo being a selectable character was huge. Just talking about my mom and how clutch she was, there was one holiday break. I don't know what Christmas bonus, what kind of raise something happened.
Something happened.
Something happened that holiday break where my mom was like, oh, you can't find Wave Race? No, we're getting Wave Race. It was like Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, Killer Instinct Gold. We wanted Wave Race, and we went to like 4 different malls to find Wave Race. She was like, call this place. It's okay, they have it, we're going. What's happening? Why is my mom like being so awesome? I mean, my mom's awesome. But that Christmas, we got like 3-4 Nintendo 64 games around the launch window. Me and my brother still talk about it. We're like, what was going on with mom and dad that they were just like, let's go, let's do it. And one of the best holiday breaks in my life too, just gaming with my bro.
I mean, you having a Smash Brothers holiday break marathon is so you. I was smiling when you were talking about it just because it feels so poetic that you would get to have that in life. If anyone gets to have that, it should be you.
Me and Jerry, who will be on the podcast soon, we found out about Melee existing, and we stood in Miss Lokovic's English class in high school watching on like Play School internet this trailer of Smash Brothers Melee over and over. And super cool teacher. She just like let us sit there and drool over this trailer, watching the same thing probably 5-6 times in a row. Couldn't believe the graphical leap from Smash 64 to Melee. Nintendo's not a power developer, and GameCube had power. Games to this day still look amazing on that thing.
Is that your holiday gaming memory? Like, what is your ultimate like holiday gaming memory? Is there any game that you played over the holidays that just brings you back to that time?
For me, the ultimate gaming holiday, the Super Nintendo, hidden in the closet of my mom and dad's bedroom. My brother accidentally discovered it, apparently did a terrible job of hiding it. It was right there in plain sight. So he knew, I didn't know. And then Christmas Eve comes around. My brother opens the Super Nintendo video game sized box, and it's Street Fighter 2. Let's just talk about that for a second, because Street Fighter 2 has to be the first game that it wasn't, but it felt like you were playing the exact same game that you played at the arcade. Not like this miniature version of the game you played at the arcade. It was like, oh, dude, this is the arcade game. I get to do this at home now. My brother started jumping around the living room. I was kind of reluctant to celebrate because I'm like, this is a Super Nintendo game. We don't have a Super Nintendo. What are you losing your mind over? And then like it clicked. Like, wait a minute, he knows something I don't. He's celebrating because he knows we have a Super Nintendo. I just started jumping around with my brother, losing our minds, dude. And then sure enough, open that big box, that glorious Super Nintendo. My uncle, I guess, had bought it, and he kind of just was like, I don't think I want it. My parents were like, we'll buy it off of you.
Why didn't your uncle want it? What was your uncle's deal?
Probably wanted
Ray's
like
uncle?
a Genesis or something.
Yeah.
Oh, loser.
Makes sense. He was like, this just doesn't do it for me. I really want to play some Sonic.
My uncle is definitely one of those dudes. Like, he probably heard blast processing and was like, but Super Nintendo box. We played Street Fighter 2 for the rest of our lives after that.
That's true. I can attest to that. That still happens.
We were running sets forever after that.
We don't want to give too much away, but maybe a surprise live episode. And I saw Ray, I was right behind him. I was filming, have a pretty epic set with 2 real competitors at Street Fighter 2. It was really impressive.
I can't wait for you guys to check out that episode. Teaser. Do you have a goated holiday
Ooh.
Christmas memory?
There's a few big ones, like getting Tomb Raider was big. Every time you get a console as a kid, it's like an indelible mark, right? I remember getting a Genesis. I remember my mom saying, "You are not getting a Genesis." I already had a Nintendo. She didn't know the difference. I think it was one of those like Christmas Eve, I got to go out. I'm not going to let this kid be disappointed on Christmas, which God bless him. What a cool thing. I was already kind of resigned to the fact that I wasn't going to get it. So the mind blowing was even bigger because I knew I wasn't getting it and then I got it. Same thing for Saturn, same thing for Dreamcast, especially Dreamcast. I was older, I was in my teens. It was expensive. It was the first time I remember understanding how much money that was. Like, I almost didn't want to ask for it. It was just too much money.
Right.
And that was from a grandmother. Your concept of money and their concept of money and like, just make that kid happy. And that was like a big one too. But I'll tell you a cool one that I really like from my adult life. I had this beautiful window of like living in this tiny little apartment with like my wife, and we were just having fun, but we always worked like opposite schedules. So like we would have a day off together. She worked in retail, big HR position at Nordstrom, and she was very busy during the holidays, and I would always kind of slow down. So usually on Christmas Eve, so I would have most of Christmas Eve to myself, and then she would come and we'd go to a great dinner or something. Like, we still obviously had a great time, but it was kind of awesome because I would get up, tell her I love her, and like she's off to work. Okay, what am I gonna do? It's Christmas Eve. What I did for maybe 5 years in a row was I turned off all the lights in the house. I kept the tree on, powered up my Xbox 360, and I played Arkham Origins. The Batman Arkham games are incredible, and I think Origins is probably considered the weakest. However, I do think a lot of people have probably revisited that. It's a lot better than people remember. It's a Batman game in Gotham City, and it takes place on Christmas Eve, the entire night of Christmas Eve. And it's snowing, and because it's Christmas Eve, the city's kind of empty, except there's a ton of riffraff out there. It came out after Arkham City. The template of you can be Batman and you can go anywhere in Gotham City has already been set. It's that, except there's Christmas lights everywhere, and it's snowing, and you're taking down goons, and you're figuring out the ins and the outs. And so I would just sit there on Christmas Eve playing as Batman on Christmas Eve, and it was great. I probably did it 5-6 years in a row, and every year I'd be like, did I beat that game? And I'm just going to fire it up. I'm like, oh, I still got more to play. It was like a little beautiful present that I saved for myself. And
love that.
I'd love to find the next version of that. I don't know what that might be. Maybe it's just me pulling up Arkham Origins again. Although I will say one of the games I was planning to play a little bit more of was Spider-Man Miles Morales.
I was going to say, I was just about to ask if you played Miles Morales, because that's
I loved it.
Holiday video game right there, man.
Played it all the way through. That first scene where he's just living like a kid king in the city, and he's listening to his headphones, and it's snowing, and I love that scene. Like, that gives me the holiday feels, So fun.
My modern video game, one that like really sticks out to me, is the reason we got on this game was because we were all stuck at home, but we all jumped on Apex Legends, me and a bunch of friends. That game had a run. We were playing that for maybe 4 years. Like, I don't doubt that at some point we'll go back to that game. It's just so evergreen for me and some of my friends.
You talked to me a lot about that game.
I try to convince you because you were playing Fortnite. I'm like, dude, it's a little bit of Fortnite. It's a little bit of Call of Duty. It's the perfect marriage of both those worlds. It's got a little Overwatch sprinkled in. I think it's still my favorite battle royale kind of video game to this day. These evergreen kind of games, these games as a service, right? They do these cool things during the holidays. They update the map, they add decorations, and during the holiday season, they would add a train to the map, and there's trees.
The Polar Express?
It's kind of like the Polar Express vibes, right?
Oh my God.
You're just on this battle royale map, and you get on this train, and everyone's dropping on the train.
Santa's just going by, frozen ice lake.
Exactly, everything changes, and it's just so fun playing that game with the lights off, with the Christmas tree on, and you got your buddies in your headset. When we hop in, let's do this, and it's such a good vibe. For New Year's Eve, it must have been 2020, 2021, one of those pandemic kind of years, right? But on New Year's Eve, we hopped on the game. It was this thing where the internet knew to like go to this one spot on the map, don't fight each other, just hang out till the clock strikes midnight, and everyone like shoots their guns and lasers or whatever into the air. It was just so wholesome.
That's so you, a New Year's Eve experience in the game and not in life. I guess in life, in a way.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Since you brought up Fortnite, do you ever jump on just to open the presents? No?
I don't know what that even is. No, talk to me about that.
Well, everything you just described, it exists in Fortnite too. The map changes. Obviously, it's like fully snowed out. A ton of the characters are Christmas characters. You can get pajamas. You can get Christmas versions of your favorite characters, all kinds of stuff, right? You have like gift wrapped guns, but they do this cool thing where the 25 days of Christmas and every day, listeners, if I'm getting a couple of the details wrong, forgive me. But every day you get to, log in, and it's smart because you're probably going to buy something when you're there. You're probably going to play while you're there. You log in and you go visit the Holiday Lodge, this beautiful snowy lodge, and you go in there and there's a fireplace and there's a ton of presents by the tree, and you get to open a present every day. And it's just something for you to put in your library to keep. So it could be a new skin, it could be a new gun, it could be like a new hanger.
Everyone wins because you're coming back to the game. Wins. You get a toy, you get a new something special for your character or for a skin.
And then you're running through like a winter wonderland, and I love Fortnite at Christmas, to be honest. It's really fun. I have a few characters that are just people I designed for me to play at Christmas because it just feels fun to play them at Christmas. And then, of course, there's a ton of Christmas bananas running around. Gingerbread men. It's become so IP driven. But for a long time there, they had their own designs that they were known for. And those designs still exist. So there's certainly like the Four Horsemen, but they're nutcrackers. The art direction on that game is very well done. And yeah, they do a good job at Christmas to like keep people excited, and it feels wholesome to go back there.
I like those games as services and what they're doing with those seasonal things. Halloween, New Year's, Christmas. It's just fun. Even if you don't have a new game to play, it feels like you get a little taste of something new and different, a reason to go back, a reason for the season, if you will.
Speaking about the season, there's one thing I love at Christmas time. I love when they do like a holiday themed episode. Some people hate the holiday themed episodes, but for me, I think it's just fun at this point when you can go back to your favorite shows and just watch all the holidays. So like you watch all the Friends Thanksgiving episodes, whatever it may be. So what is your go-to Christmas episode?
Their pet is named after the Christmas episode, Santa's Little Helper. That's true. Yeah. Simpsons episode, one of my favorite episodes to revisit. An early episode, animation is shoddy still. The comedy writing is just so on point for The Simpsons. Another one that was just always in rotation. We'd always watch the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation. You know that special I'm talking about with the elves?
Yeah, the claymation stuff.
There's one with like a abominable snowman, and I still remember how terrified I was of that little claymation monster.
I'm so interested that you said that because what I was about to tell you is like, I respect your choice of Rudolph claymation, but I gotta be honest, it creeps me out, dude.
It's creepy.
Like, it creeps me out because it was on and there's not a ton of stuff to choose, but creeping me out.
I bet that sentiment is shared across many boards. Listeners, if the Rudolph claymation special creeped you out, one's in the chat if that one creeped you out. I know it messed with me for sure.
I was a big Scooby-Doo guy, so whenever they would do, the gang is driving up to like their fun ski trip, which they're apparently driving up to in the dark. You know how that Scooby-Doo was always in the dark?
Right.
There's this fun fan theory that Scooby-Doo, the original series, takes place in like a post-economic downturn society. So it's not post-apocalyptic or anything. Clearly, we all know that Hanna-Barbera would recycle backgrounds. They would recycle animation. If you watch Scooby-Doo, there's no extra characters. There's just those kids and then whatever the ghost is, like, and then whatever character they maybe interacted with at like the front desk of the ski lodge. But there's nobody around. Every town is desolate. There's no other cars on the road. It's really dark. So maybe there was some kind of nuclear winter thing happening, right? I really like it because it doesn't change what's happening. It just kind of adds to the ambiance of the story. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna watch Scooby-Doo from an entirely different lens.
Yeah. Also, why are there 100% uptick in people with the Ponzi schemes just trying to make a buck so they could survive? They got to eat. They got to feed their families. Times were hard.
Man, the Scooby-Doo tinfoil hats. I was not expecting this. I love that.
Any Scooby-Doo, snow episode, that snow ghost,
One of my favorite one-liners, I think it was a Christmas episode. Gary Coleman was on an episode of The Simpsons once, and he just played himself. And at the end of the episode, Gary Coleman goes into his line where he says, like, what you talking about, Homer, right? The camera pans out. Gary Coleman, like, turns around at the dinner table and he faces the camera and everyone looks at the camera and he goes, what you talking about, everyone? And that's how the episode ends. So corny in the best way.
That's awesome.
The last thing I want to talk about is just to bring it back to like my awesome parents and my mom who like always fostered this gaming side of me and like had no qualms about it and kind of just let it rock. I'd show it to you, but she doesn't let me bring it home, try as I may, but it's always hanging at my mom's house this time of year. And I'm pretty sure I got it. Like I should be able to take it home. Whatever. It's fine. The stocking that is at my mom's house that she still fills to this day with at least one Mario themed set of gummy candies is
Right.
a Mario Galaxy stocking that I got when I bought Mario Galaxy from Electronic Boutique during the holidays of, I don't know, 2006 or whatever year Mario Galaxy released. I love that stocking. I take a picture of it every year and I post it because it's just so beautiful. It's Mario flying through the sky with like the little star beside him. If I could just bring it home. And it's nice to know it's somewhere safe, and I always come back to it every year. Like I said, it's always got at least one or two, like a GameStop gift card. There's always something special in there from my mom and dad.
I think your mom is the VIP of this episode, the goat of the very DoPL Holiday podcast.
You know, and shout out to my dad, but like mom was running the show and the holiday show for sure. And definitely made for some incredible memories that I continue to talk about with my siblings and that she continues to make every year to this day. Happy holidays,
Thanks,
Mom. I love you.
My mom too. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Let's do it, man. I got some presents to wrap. I got some cookies to bake. I got to go be Clark Griswold all over again.
Yeah, same. I hope to one day be that parent. I think we're doing an all right job. I don't know if it'll go into the gaming direction as much as it did for me. My kids like video games. Are they gamers? That's still to be determined. We'll see.
It's in
The
their
jury's
blood,
still
right?
out.
They're going to find it. As a good friend of mine once said, what you talking about? Everyone.
What you talking about, everyone, doppelgangers? Thank you so much. It's been a hell of a year. We've got way more coming, and we can't wait for you guys to see what's coming next. 2026 will be a good one.
Thanks, everyone. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, Dopplers. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Hey everybody, it's Ray here. Just wanted to thank you for tuning into the Dire Pass Level podcast. If you want to hang out and join us for the next episode, make sure to like and subscribe. That way you're notified when our next episode releases. If you really, really, really liked it, you'd do us a solid if you left us a review. Reviews are a great way to spread the word about our podcast, and the more gamers to share these stories with, the better. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. There we go.